Hey guys, so glad you came back. We are talking about grade 10 factorizing. We're looking at some of the big things that you learned in grade 10. We're just revising some of that difference of two squares, highest common factors, and now we're on to grouping. So before the break, I gave you a question. I said, have a look at it, see what you can group together, and see how you can use grouping to help you factorize that expression, all right? So we saw that we have 4 terms that were given, and we need to decide which terms to put together so that we can group them and take out then thereafter a common factor. Okay, so some of you may be tempted to put 6x and 2ax together. If you do that, you will see that when you take out your common factor from those terms, your bracket that remains does not help you. It does not help you to group, and you cannot find a common factor that you can take out of the whole expression. All right, so what do? Let's put together 6x with 3 and put together minus a with positive 2ax. So I'm going to write the terms that I will group together. I'm going to write them together. From the first 2 terms, 6x minus 3, I can take out a common factor of 3. I'll be left with 2x minus 1. And then from the second set of terms, term 3 and 4, I can take out not a positive a, because we want to get, or do we take out a positive a? Do we take out a negative a? Let's just think about this for a second. If I took out a negative a, what would happen? I would end up with, and I'm going to show you what would happen, because this is the kind of thing that learners can do in tests and so on, and then you get kind of stuck because my brackets don't look the same. So if I were to take out a negative a from those 2 terms, right, I will end up with positive 1 minus, because positive 2a divided by negative a will give me negative 2 and then x. Now, if I look at 1 minus 2x, it's not the same as 2x minus 1. So now I'll have to do one more step, change the sign in front to positive, and then my bracket's going to swap around. However, in the first step, if we simply rearrange these as 2ax minus a, we can clearly see then we can take out positive a as a common factor between those terms, and we'll be left with 2x minus 1. So therefore now you can see my common bracket. So I pull out 2x minus 1 as my common factor, and I'm left with 3 plus a. Okay. All right, so just to go through the steps to factorize by grouping, check that there are no common factors throughout all the terms, group the terms with common factors together, and then take out the common factor, which is going to be your common bracket. All right. One of the most important things you learn to factorize is a quadratic trinomial. A quadratic trinomial, remember, has the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So when we factorize a quadratic trinomial, we learn the method of trial and error. But what I want to focus on for the rest of the lesson is to show you an alternate method, because I know that learners battle. They really struggle with the method of trial and error. You can use your calculator to help you, but it doesn't really teach you anything. You don't learn the skills that you need to be successful at maths later on in different techniques, okay? So it's important to learn the technique of factorizing a quadratic trinomial. We can do trial and error, as I said. Let's just go through the steps. First, we take out a highest common factor if it exists. Remember, the standard form of a trinomial is of a quadratic trinomial is ax squared plus bx plus c. When I'm saying quadratic, that means that the highest power is a square, all right? A, b, and c have no common factors, and a is a positive number. We write down 2 brackets with an x in each bracket, and we put a space in for the remaining terms. We will then use the factors of a and of c, and we try to then get out a set of options for the possible factors for the quadratic using a and c to get to the value of b. At the end, you can expand to see that you get the correct middle term. So let's just see what we're doing with an actual example. So I'm going to use the factors of a and of c, and I'm going to try and get to the middle term of 5x, and this is the method of trial and error. So we're first going to open two brackets. All right, our factors of 2x squared are 2x and x. Those are the only options here, so I'm writing them down straight away, but depending on what your first term is, you won't really write this out like this. If, for example, the coefficient of x squared was 4, because there's more than one way that you can factorize 4. All right, so 2x squared, I'm going to write down the factors are 2x and x, and then I'm going to write down the factors of 3, which are 3 and 1. Now, in the method of trial and error, we just list the factors and their signs, and then we go through and work out if we can get the value of b, which is positive 5, from a and c. A has a value of 2, c has a value of negative 3. Remember, it was negative 3, so therefore either the 3 or the 1 has to be negative, because only a positive times a negative will give me a negative answer. So let's say we make 3 negative. You then cross multiply to see what you get. This will give me negative 3x, and we cross multiply 2x by 1 and we get 2x. Now if you subtract those, minus 3x plus 2x gives me negative x, and I see that does not give me a value of positive 5, so I discard those pairs of factors. We then move on. And what you basically do is you then swap the terms around and see if you can get to your middle term. So in this case, I'm going to make the 1 negative. So I get minus 1 times x is negative x, 2x times 3 is 6x, and positive 6x minus 1x gives me 5x, which, fantastic news, is actually the middle term, positive 5x. So my factors are 2x minus 1, they are as they lie next to each other, times x plus 3. All right, and that's really just very briefly going through the method of trial and error. I'm not doing it in much detail because I know many of you, this is the method you were shown in school and you have been practicing that. If you times those brackets out, you must get back to your quadratic expression. What I want to show you is an alternate method. And what we're going to use here to factorize a quadratic trinomial is the method of grouping. So the method of factorizing by trial and error, we know it can take a while. So remember, you can really choose whichever method that I'm showing you now. You can choose either method to factorize your quadratic trinomial. The question will not say use the specific method, but if it does by some chance, then you've got to use the method it's asking for. But with trinomials, you generally aren't given a specific method to use. All right, so pay careful attention, because for many of you, this may be something you haven't seen before. So say we have to factorize 2x squared plus x minus 6. The first thing we do is we write down the values of a, b, and c, including their signs. So a is equal to positive 2, b is equal to positive 1, and c is equal to negative 6. Then what you do is you find the product of a times c, including the signs. So a times c is negative 12. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. All right? And what we then do is we list all the factors of negative 12. Okay, so now, guys, we've left this expression alone, and we're just looking at the values of a, b, and c. Okay, so don't go back to this and try to refactorize that now. This is a different method. So negative 12. Okay, what are the factors of negative 12? Well, they can be 1 and negative 12. That gives me 12 times, negative 12 times 1 gives me negative 12. And it can be negative 12, well, those are the same. It could also be positive 12, negative 1. It could be 2 times negative 6, negative 6 times 2, 3 times negative 4, negative 3 times 4. So basically all I've done is I've written down all the factors that when I multiply them together, they'll give me negative 12. All right. You then find P and Q, which is really just a pair of the factors of A times C with the sum of B. Now remember, the value of B was 1. So I go through all the factors that I have, and I see, okay, well, 1 minus 12, that gives me negative 11, negative 1 plus 12 gives me 11, and I go through adding all of them, and I see that the only pair that will work, that will give me positive 1, because remember, B had a value of positive 1. The only one that works is this one, where P is equal to negative 3 and q is equal to 4. Okay, so this is the one that I'm interested in. We then rewrite the original expression as ax squared plus some px plus some qx plus c. So really what we're doing is we're rewriting the expression we were given, the original expression we were given, which was 2x squared plus x minus 6. We're rewriting that positive x, okay? So remember, p was negative 3, so it's negative 3x plus 4x, q was 4, and minus 6 and 2x squared we just bring down. I then group the terms that are next to each other together, so 2x squared minus 3x, and there I can take out a common factor of x, and I get 2x minus 3. And then from the 4x minus 6, I can take out a common factor of 2, and I'm left with 2x minus 3. I then take out my common bracket now, which is 2x minus 3, by dividing through by 2x minus 3, and I'm left with 2x minus 3 times x plus 2. And you can check that out, times that out, and you will see that you'll get back to your initial expression. I want to quickly show you with one more example how to do this, and then you can try this at home. So identify quickly, your A is 2, your B is 9, and your C is 9. You then multiply A by C, so you get 18, and you will then go through and list all the factors of 18. Okay? All right, so you will go through 1 and 18, and remember, because we're looking at positive 18, we could get negative 1 times negative 18 as well. We can get 9 times 2, and we can get negative 2 times negative 9. You'll go and list all of those, and remember, the one that you are going to be interested in is the one that will give you the sum of 9. So if you carry on, remember the other factors of 18 are 6 and 3, or negative 6 and negative 3. And it's only 6 and 3 that will give me an answer of positive 9. So I rewrite my original expression. All right, let's go back there quickly, as 2x squared plus 6x plus 3x plus 9. So I've rewritten this expression. I'm then going to group the first two and the last two terms. First two terms, we take out a common factor of 2x, and we'll be left with x plus 3. Second two terms, we take out a common factor of 3, and we're left with x plus 3. So therefore, if I factorize, I'm going to take out a common bracket of x plus 3, and I get x plus 3 times 2x plus 3. And if you were to multiply this out, you will indeed end up with the expression you were given, which is 2x squared plus 9x plus 9. All right, so that's a new method. It's exciting. It's an exciting time of year to try new things. So if you're interested in learning another method to factorize quadratic trinomials, go ahead and watch this again. Until next time, cheers.